You can get in touch as well, 01452 307575. Text me 81333, start your message with the word Gloss. Or indeed, if you're flicking around on Twitter, just go and find us at BBC Gloss. Let us know your favourite madness song, and I'll squeeze one in before 9 o'clock ahead of tonight's gig. Now, think of the Cotswolds, you think of rolling hills, Yellowstone cottages, and a great big waste depot. Perhaps not the last one, but that's what people living in the village of South Cerney could be facing. The site on Broadway Lane has been in use for some time, and a planning application had been put in to expand it to increase its use. It's now been revealed that the District Council has withdrawn part of the application for an increase in waste disposal on the site. However, plans to increase the site as a vehicle depot will still go ahead, with rubbish trucks driving up and down the lane and sitting on the site. People living nearby say this will make it dirty, smelly and dangerous. Back in March, the village got together and held a large protest on the playground, the start of a campaign to stop the development. And BBC Radio Gloucestershire's James Thomas went along then to see them.
Well, the backdrop of the Cotswold Water Park and the Cotswold stone houses, it's a very idyllic setting. If I look to the side of me, though, there's this massive grey building, which is the waste treatment plant, which they're looking to possibly expand. As you can hear behind me, the hubbub of residents have appeared here today to see if they can get something done about it, because they're not happy. They don't want it to be expanded. Let's go and find out some of their thoughts.
As you can see, this is a beautiful new park that's been put together with a wildlife habitat. The site itself will handle over 40,000 tonnes of waste a year. That waste will be both commercial, organic waste, and it's basically about putting a tip right in the centre of the Cotswold Water Park and next to a residential area that was approved for development by Cotswold District Council.
Well, my name's Deborah Farrant, and I've set up a Facebook page and a Facebook group. We've also got loads of leaflets. We've leafleted the village and put up posters. We've tried to get as much of the village involved as possible. Even the local school have put notices in the children's book bags, because obviously we want to raise awareness to everybody of what they're trying to do to our village. I mean, putting a waste transfer station in the middle, in the middle of a village, next to a housing estate, next to a children's play area, is absolutely ridiculous. It's going to affect the whole village, because the noise and the smell is going to transfer across the lake into the village.
As you can hear in the background, children playing in the play area here near South Cerney. Many children here are saying that they wouldn't want to play on this land. Many parents saying that they'd be unhappy if this got expanded and it would be unsafe.
Isabel.
How old are you?
8.
8 years old. You've done something, haven't you? You've written a letter. Just explain what you've done.
I written a letter to the planning people so that they don't put smelly rubbish near our play park and our home.
And if they did do some development over there, do you think you'd play here less?
Yes.
Well, Councillor Lyndon Stowe is the leader of Cotswold District Council and says the plans for a vehicle depot won't make any difference to residents.
There are two planning applications. The first one relates to what I would say the continued use of a depot to store the waste vehicles and to do vehicle maintenance. And in effect, that's been going on in South Cerney for, I think it's something like 20 years. And it's been going on that site for most of that 20 years. I would very much argue that that is continued use. So that is a planning application that we will be proceeding with. The other application is an application for the site to also be used as a waste transfer site. I'm not happy with that at the moment, which is why I've said that I will be withdrawing that application at our cabinet meeting in about 10 days' time. I need to be convinced, as do my colleagues, and certainly as do the residents of South Cerney, that if we are going to proceed down the route of having waste transfer, we need to know that there will not be an impact on local people. And so we need to, as a council, we need to look around the rest of the country, look at best practice, see where these other sites are being run by other authorities. Let's have a look at some of them to see if they can be run without impact, without noise impact, and without horrible smells coming out of it, and all the other things that people put to us, such as rats and so on. Let's see if that can work, and then if we If we believe it can, then we would come back and talk to the people of South Cerney. If we believe it won't, we won't be coming back with a further application on that one.
Well, this week campaigners say they're stepping up their efforts to get it all stopped. 1,000 signatures in just one weekend. But does the decision for the District Council withdraw part of the application make any difference? We can speak now to Alan Dickinson. He's one of the lead protesters who's been spearheading the campaign. Good morning, Alan.
Yes, good morning.
So, first of all, for those who perhaps have no idea of the area, give us a bit of a description so that we can almost imagine ourselves there as to what it's like at the moment with the existing facility.
If you look at the existing facility, it's essentially a lorry park, but it's bounded on three sides by three lakes. One of the lakes is dedicated for sailing, one of the lakes is dedicated for fishing, and the other one is dedicated to water skiing.
And what's it like having trucks coming down and actually dealing with the waste there?
The problem you've got is the Broadway Lane is a 60-mile-an-hour road, and it also has leisure facilities on either side with holidaymakers emerging onto that lane. Either they are walking because there's no pavements, or they're coming out on bicycles, or there's cars coming out. And there have been a number of accidents in Broadway Lane, and particularly the Spine Road East, where Broadway Lane goes into, over the last 5-10 years. In fact, there have been fatalities as well.
Now, from what we've just heard from Councillor Lyndon Stowe there, leader of Cotswold District Council, it looks like they are really going to do a lot of work to try and, understand better the potential impact. Does that encourage you in the fact that they are actually going to be looking quite widely to see as to the potential impact?
No. Not at all.
For what reason?
For the reason that it's political. What they decided to do was to announce this before the local elections, that they would be withdrawing the second part of the application, and I have every confidence that they will reintroduce this 6 months further down the field and push forward with what their intention is, because they do not have a waste management policy document or anything like that at all.
Obviously, waste needs to be dealt with somewhere. I appreciate you might not understand as to why it was built there in the first place, but, is it something that actually it makes sense to go and use an existing facility rather than looking somewhere else completely new? Because there'll be another group of campaigners, no doubt somewhere else, who would say, well, no, this particular place isn't suitable either.
It's not a question of the actual site being suitable, because whilst Councillor Stowe says it's been there for 20 years, there hasn't been a housing estate next door to it, which was approved by his council 3 years ago, next door to it. So the area itself has been developed for residential and leisure use. Therefore, the current site is unsuitable. There are alternatives. Councillor Stowe has said there have been 92 alternatives, but they will only tell us about 30 of them. And that has been very difficult to get that information out of them.
So one of the issues does seem to be it's about communication sometimes, understanding, where you might be moving forward or the other options just in general between you and the council.
Well, we're quite prepared to sit down at any stage and discuss these other options. But I asked Councillor Stowe 2 weeks ago for a meeting, and I haven't had a reply.
Well, we will continue to follow that with great interest. Alan Dickinson there, thank you for joining us on the programme, one of the lead protesters spearheading this campaign. We wait to see. It's going to go to Cabinet in just over 10 days' time, as Councillor Lyndon Stowe was saying. We will follow this with great interest. It's 8:15.
BBC Radio Gloucestershire.
With Mark Smith.
Do please get in touch with us.